Will Goldstein here, thekingscourt.com. Another chance to subscribe down there to the videos if you like it. Again, I'm a musician. You can always check out my songbooks. I'm going to be releasing my 29th volume at thekingscourt.com. It's a PDF songbook with a lot of songs in it, 91 songs in that particular volume. And also there's always digital albums that I'm working on. I've been a little bit on hold on that recently because I'm finishing up this songbook, but I'll resume as soon as we're entering into 2025. And you can always listen to the music that I've got out there, 11 albums on Spotify, on Apple, Amazon, Pandora, and other places as well, Deezer and places like that. Anyway, so again, we're doing C.S. Lewis. This is number 6, Screwtape letter number 6, and I'm giving titles to these now so that you get an idea of what the difference between them. Last one was on war. This one's a little bit on war still, but I'm calling this Good Intentions. Screwtape addressing his nephew Wormwood and their demons. Wormwood, I'm delighted to hear that your patient's age make it possible that he could be called for military service. We want him in maximum uncertainty, his mind filled with contradictory pictures of the future, which arouses hope or even fear. There is nothing like suspense and anxiety to barricade a human's mind against the enemy. Make it all about what will happen to him. So again, he's of the age that he could enter into military service, and the whole idea is the suspense that's involved. You're going off to war, and the hope and the fear, maybe the fighting for your country, the hope that you have, or the fear that you might die. It's very suspenseful. You don't know what's going to happen. You fill his mind with all these pictures, and maybe even horrible pictures of what could happen, to arouse this fear. And as long as he's caught up in fear, he can't be focusing, or he's less likely to be focusing on God. Your patient believes that he must submit with patience to the enemy's will. The enemy in this case is God, because these are demons talking. He should accept with patience the tribulation dealt to him in the present anxiety and suspense. He is likely to say, "Thy will be done." So Screwtape is addressing the issue that this guy is a Christian, and he's likely thinking as a Christian, "Thy will be done." I'm going off to war. God, am I going to die? Or are you going to save me? Are you going to be with me? And I need to accept what your will is for in my life and be patient about it and do what you want me to do. And Screwtape is warning Wormwood that this is like what he is going to be thinking. The patient must never think of the present fear as his cross, what he is afraid of. Let him regard his crosses as incompatible. They cannot all happen to him all at once. Resignation to different fates is impossible. So lead him toward resignation to present and actual suffering and fear. Take up your cross and follow me is what Jesus said. He mentions crosses, so he's saying there can't be more than one cross. You can't resign yourself to this cross and this cross and this cross is what he's saying here. They're incompatible with one another. And so rather than having him focus on his cross that he's taking up, divert his attention so that all he's really left with is the present suffering that he's going. In other words, I'm not doing this for you, God, I'm just suffering. That's the whole attitude that this demon is going to instill in the person. An important spiritual law is to divert his attention from the enemy himself, which is God, to his own state of mind and not to prayer. So He's so locked up in the fear and anxiety of being in war that he never thinks about actually praying to God. The general rule in all activities of mind that is favorable to our cause is to encourage the patient not to concentrate on any activities that are favorable to the enemy, meaning God, but bend his mind back to itself, always to myself, always to my suffering. Let an insult that might come to him from any of the other men that are out there that are also, or women that are out there that are also distressed in a certain state of mind. They might insult him, or a woman's body that he might see anywhere in war. Fix his attention outward so that he does not reflect on being angry or on the state called lust. Feelings that are devout or charitable, fix his attention inward, that he no longer looks beyond himself. So in other words, I had to read that a few times to figure out what he's saying. It says, look, if he's insulted, don't even let him get into his anger by the insults. If he sees a beautiful woman, keep his mind from there. Keep him completely oblivious to everything and only directed inward on his own pain and suffering and fear. As regards his attitude to war, in his anguish, encourage revenge. So that's pretty self-explanatory. And hatred against imaginary scapegoats. This is war. He doesn't know the people that he's killing. So encourage this revenge and hatred towards them, these people he doesn't even know. He's never met these people. They're just like figures that are modeled after what he sees in newspapers. They're just a number. There is going to be some benevolence as well because he's a Christian, and because of the war condition, there's likely to be malice also in the patient's soul. He calls him the patient. Direct malice to his neighbors, thrust his benevolence to people he doesn't know, so that the malice becomes real and the benevolence imaginary. So think about what he just said there. You know, he's a Christian, but he's in a horrible situation. He could have malice, or he could even have some benevolence when he sees something. For example, he sees a soldier that's wounded. Is he going to be a hero and go to try to save him? The whole idea is anything that's of positive energy, like benevolence, make him shun away from that, or to people he doesn't even know, so that he's less likely to go help them because he doesn't even know them, rather than a friend, say. And the malice, what he's supposed to do is make it real. In other words, any chance that he has to act in vengeance and hatred, then go for it. Make it real, is what he says. Keep shoving all the virtues outward until they become like a fantasy. If they reach the will embodied in habits, virtues are fatal to us. So any of the positive virtues in Christianity, if they enter the habits, there's something that he acts on, something that he does, then they're very dangerous, because then he's acting out of goodness, kindness, love, patience, and all the virtues that are associated with Christianity or being a good person. And the demon's trying to keep him from doing that. Don't let them reach the heart, the virtues. Virtues painted only in fantasy, and even if they're loved and admired, will not keep a man from our Father's house. Of course, that's the devil. They make him more amusing when he gets there, because with all the man's good intentions, he never acted on them.